Welcome to Beyond the Fourth Wall, an audio look at the performing and visual arts in beautiful Denton, Texas. I'm your host, Damon Wadico, and to my left here is the best dressed man in Denton, Mr. Mike Barrow, director of the Campus Theater. Hello.
Hello, Damon.
Hey, it's been a while.
It has.
A couple weeks, took some time off.
Been on hiatus.
Exactly, much needed rest. And to get used to our new night, yet another schedule change.
New, but now permanent.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll
Famous
see.
last words.
Well, the name of the show is still the same, so that's a definite plus.
Absolutely.
Help people follow us. So, got a calendar here. These are events coming up in and around Denton. This Saturday is the second Saturday seminar, which this week, and that's at 1 p.m. on this Saturday, the 14th, and it's about it's volunteer orientation for the theater, and I believe Suzanne Coffey, the head of the production board here, will be kind of heading that up. And this is this will give people a chance to know how to volunteer for the theater and become involved.
It's a great day for people to come out if they want to just learn about Denton Community Theater, learn about the campus theater, kind of what we do. And we always say it's one of the hardest questions to answer sometimes is when somebody calls up and says, "Hey, I want to volunteer. What can I do?"
Oh.
And so we're going to answer that this Saturday. It's going to be a great seminar.
That's great. I hope there is a good turnout, because people will come up to me, how did you get involved in community theater? And you tell them, but this is really an open door opportunity for anybody out there that might want to become involved with our theater here.
That's right.
Also Saturday, and not related to the theater, is the Antiques
Arts, Antiques, and Autos.
Thank you very much. And that's a big festival they do every year here on the square.
Sponsored by Main Street, the Main Street Association.
Very good. And what you'll see when you come to this thing, it's really amazing. I mean, you've got these people who drive from all over with their antique cars. They're all shined up, polished. It's beautiful. Then you have people selling antiques, and then even arts and crafts. So, if you get tired of looking at the, classic Austin Healey, you can go look at a birdhouse. It's really fantastic.
They'll also have appraisers if you want to bring some of your antiques out. They'll be doing appraisals all day.
Wow, you really know about this.
Well,
I don't know a thing about this.
I happen to be on the Main Street board, so.
Oh, that's handy.
So I have got the inside track here, so to speak.
I knew there was a reason you were the co-host of this show. That's great. And I think there'll be live music.
There'll be live music. There'll be entertainment all day, and also food, beverages, and it's a fun day. It's a great family day, and it's looks like the weather. We're going to have good weather Saturday. So. And
I think Jake, our engineer, was telling us that DentonRadio.com will also be a presence there.
That's right.
So
sounds like they'll be doing a live broadcast that day.
It sounds like a fun
day.
Yeah,
fun day.
Good family fun. My favorite. And then Tuesdays, regular like clockwork, 7 p.m. is Prod, or Play Readers of Denton. So if anybody out there is interested, maybe you're not ready to audition yet or make that step into acting, this is a great way for you to get your feet wet and just a very relaxed atmosphere, a round table reading of a script, a lot of fun. And then starting September 20th, August Osage County starts here at the Campus Theater. What a play. I cannot wait to see this show. I got to see the touring, the national tour a couple years ago. It's a moving, fantastic play. Performances will be September 20th, 21st, 26th, 27th, and 28th. And those are all at 7:30. And then there are the Sunday matinees, each of those weekends at 2 o'clock. And I don't have the dates for those Sundays.
22nd and 29th.
Oh, come to my aid again. Thank you, sir. Pulling my butt out of the fire. I love it.
That's what I'm here for, Damon. That's what I'm here for.
I appreciate it. But our guest tonight isn't involved with that show. Miss Betty K. Seibt, who is a talented actor, director. She does costumes. She's on the production board. She's on the play selection committee. She wears a lot of hats. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. Welcome to the show.
I'm really sorry you said I was a costumer out in public. Somebody may make me do that.
I've been in shows where you were involved with costumes.
You have, yes.
I mean, is there anything really, any aspect of theater you are not or have not been involved in?
I'm not. I used to do lights a long time ago, but I haven't done lights in enough years, many years. And I've never done sound.
I enjoy doing sound, but I do not like to handle lights.
You know, Betty K., all the
costumes.
lights are electric now.
I know, and it was
He said that.
it was a lot of trouble crawling up there and lighting all those candles, and then crawling up there and blowing them all out.
If you guys could see our set right now, I am not within arm's length of Betty K. So.
No, this is an unusual setup for us.
I'll get you later. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, and I also wanted to mention for anybody that was listening to us last week, sorry about that. Had a little technical hiccup. I heard like the first 10 minutes got out and nothing else. But I also wanted to tell people that Betty K. is our first guest for the first episode that will be going podcast, which means you will be able to listen to the show whenever you want. I mean, listen to it live. We love to have you live, but if you can't, you
Tell all your friends.
and
tomorrow
please
that they
tell
can
all your
listen to the
friends.
show.
I don't know the details or when this podcast will be available, but we will definitely keep our listeners informed on that. Anyway, Betty, back to you. So you are one of the producers for August Osage County.
I am indeed. Suzanne Coffey is the other producer.
And was this a show that were you sort of assigned to be the producer, or was this the one that you really wanted to do?
Well,
or?
I asked to do it because my daughter is working on the show. She's part of the technical staff. And so I wanted to work with her a little bit. But I think I was put up my hand at the wrong time. And so I got 2 shows back to back. I just finished with Color Purple.
Oh,
and
that's
so in
right.
the middle of Color Purple, I started producing this show.
You are definitely one of the hardest working women in the theater here, I got to tell you.
I got to get out of town, I'm telling you.
But so you were somewhat familiar with the show.
Yes, and I had been on the play selection committee with you and Suzanne and some other people who had seen the show.
So you did not see the show.
I have not seen the show, and I've actually sort of stayed away from rehearsals. When I have to come for production reasons, I come early or come late or something, because I sort of want to be audience and see it fresh on the first night.
Oh, sure. I definitely understand. I'm the same. You were telling me a little bit about the playwright, Tracy Letts. Now, this was a huge breakout play for him. He had written some things before, and he's written some things since, but this is sort of considered, as of right now, his masterpiece.
Yes, he won the Pulitzer Prize for it, and then he also won the Tony Award for Best Play for it. And it's personal for him in many ways, but without actually being a reflection of his family. In fact, his mother is a writer, and she has said, I write very happy things, and he writes all these very dark things. I don't know where he gets that. But it's not personal in that it reflects the story of his family. But his father actually played the part of the father.
So his father was an actor also.
His father was an actor. Well, actually, he was a college professor, just like the man in the play is.
Right.
And he played this part as a step-in. The actor had to leave, and he stepped in for the premiere in Chicago. And then they asked him to do it on Broadway, and he did play it on Broadway briefly.
Well, it's a really powerful role. I mean, I think that bit with the father really gets the audience sucked into the story of this family.
And the father is only there for this little tiny piece of the play.
Exactly.
That they don't even call an act. They call the prologue. And during the prologue, it's almost a monologue for this father.
Exactly.
And it's a very bizarre monologue. He's explaining this household situation to a young woman he's hiring to cook and clean. And then you never see him again. But his presence just overwhelms everybody else in the show.
That monologue, like I was saying, definitely sets the tone for the whole play. I love that scene, and I really like this play. I can't wait, like I said. But, I mean, it's a pretty heavyweight drama, but there's also a lot of humor, even if it's dark humor in the play.
Well,
I
it's
found.
definitely dark humor, but I mean, families are funny.
Tell me.
And I think maybe Mildred said this play makes you wonder why you're going to go home for Thanksgiving. The
No,
director, Mildred
that's
Pivito.
Thank you.
And it does make you wonder why you want to go home and put up with your family.
I know, I always wonder.
But families are funny.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, I think you laugh. If you're in the audience, you laugh because you're not in the family. You're so
right.
glad they're not your family. And so things look funny that probably don't look very funny to the people in the show who are the actors and are having to live through that.
We should explain the title a little bit. It's August, so it takes place. That means it takes place in August, and then August, Osage County, which is a real county in Oklahoma.
Up near Tulsa.
Right.
And it takes place in the hot summertime, which
just makes those emotions
really
come to that
fits in
simmer.
well with how hot it is right now. And the drama that's going on, and I think the heat and the oppressive and the dry and all the things that we're living through right here in the drought, I think we can get into that. Even though you come in the theater sort of to leave the outside world, I think you are going to wind up bringing it with you more than you expected to.
Oh,
Because the world of that play is so much the world of what's here: hot, dry, no rain.
oh yeah. I think Texans will definitely be able to.
We can get into that.
Yeah, relate to that. Hopefully, when the play goes up, we will be having cooler weather.
Hopefully,
but,
yes.
And we've had a lucky summer this year, so I can't complain. But so. Like I said, you wear and have worn many hats in the theater. How long have you been involved with Denton Community Theater?
Now, I begged you not to ask
Oh,
for
I'm not asking specific years, just a roundabout.
Well, I was
couple.
audience before I was involved. My daughter's been involved for a long time, and I've come to see plays that she's been involved with. She's usually a techie. God bless the techies.
Oh,
And then I got involved with Michael Boland's production of Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will? What's the name of that show?
yeah,
Daddy's Dying.
Who's got the will? Yeah.
And I
Was
tried
this
out that.
the last time.
The last
Okay.
time he did about 7 or 8 years ago.
God, time really flies. It did not feel that long ago to me.
And
Wow.
I was very lucky to work. I mean, Michael was a wonderful director to
He
work
is.
with here for the first time. And then right after that, I did, with Mildred Pivito again, I did Noel Coward's Waiting in the Wings.
Yes, I did that with you. I guess that probably was the first thing
That you and I did
You and I
together.
would have worked on together. That's right.
And then I got to direct You in Arsenic and Old Lace.
I
which
was just coming to that. You
a
will
lo-
notice I
Yes,
am
he's
wearing
wearing
the
his shirt.
T-shirt, Arsenic and Old Lace.
Which I love that show. I think it's
I love that show now, thanks to you. I had not even seen the movie before I did that show, and
well, and as so often is the case, I think the stage show is so much better than the movie because they did things in the movie that you can do in the movie that you can't always
Sure.
do on stage. But I think there's kind of a locked room mystery effect to Arsenic and Old Lace, and I think that climate is what's so great. And in the movie, they go outside and come in, and the shots are outside, and you're out in the street, and you lose that ambiance of being in that room with those crazy people for the whole time.
yeah, and also I have seen the movie since, and they significantly, and I'm not even sure why, changed some of the characters' relationships and even the motivations. Their motivations. I mean, mostly it was intact, but there were some subtle things. Like I think he was a different type of writer. I don't believe he was a theater critic in the movie, but and they also said it at Halloween. I don't know if you remember that. great.
It's crazy enough without that.
And I want to thank you, by the way, for casting me in that, because even now, Teddy is one of my all-time favorite roles.
Well, you did a brilliant job of Teddy.
And people will still come up to me that I don't even know who had seen the show and remember Teddy. So I really get a kick out of that, of course, and the attention. Was that the first show you had directed?
Yes, it was the first show I directed here. It's not the first show I've ever directed. But
Right. What are some of your past directing?
Well, where I did most of my directing before I came here was children's theater.
Okay.
And I love working with kids because they never, I think Mike said not too long ago, you could tell them we're going to take some costumes and put on a show in the barn and they'd be up for that. They always think they can do it. Whatever it is, they can do it. And they're not afraid of looking silly or putting on a weird hat or a funny wig.
Oh, they're
And
much braver than adults.
they are much braver than adults. And they're much funnier than adults, by and large. Their timing is better.
You're probably right.
And so I love working with children. And I did that for a while. And then I came up here and went downhill to adults.
Downhill. Yeah, well.
But I don't do musicals. I just do straight drama, straight comedy.
I avoid musicals myself, but I prefer the comedies and the occasional drama. But this children's theater that you were involved in, where was that?
This was at the Church of the Transfiguration in Dallas, and we had a very nice theater troupe there.
Okay.
And once a year we did what we called family theater, and we always did a big play, and I'll put quotes around big play. We did not Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, and we did, some regular scripted, nice, pay royalties and do this play with, something from Samuel French in a book. And then we did, as another part of that, we did a very short, usually 30 to 45 minute drama that would use everybody that didn't get cast in the big play. And I would get all these kids, some of whom couldn't read, and a few adults that wanted to do it and didn't care whether they were in the big show or not. And so we would do these wild and crazy things with we always had a script, but there'd usually be a lot of improv. We did a show about one of the three little pigs being kidnapped.
Okay.
And we had three princesses in there, and Snow White was wore nothing but black. She was a goth. And Cinderella was a valley girl with a little tiara with a C on it, a little tennis skirt, and carried a purse that was a shoe. And Sleeping Beauty was narcoleptic and kept going to sleep. And they were always trying to plan a party for when they got the little pig back. And Cinderella kept wanting to have sausage balls and couldn't understand why that would not be politically correct. So it was a lot of fun. And the kids would just, they made the jokes. And kids are funny. And I worked with a music, art, and drama camp there for several years, and the kids would write their own script for something every year, and they were just funny. I mean, they could go to Hollywood and be really rich just with what they pop off and say.
So then after Arsenic here, and I think it was after, and I don't even know if it was the next thing for you, but To Kill a Mockingbird.
It was the next thing I was in.
Right.
With you.
And that
Yes.
was another thing we did together. But you were also helping with props in that show, I believe.
I think I did help a little bit with props
Yeah.
in that show.
I think that was the one time I got not the one time, the first time I ever got into an argument with you. And you probably don't even remember this.
No, I don't.
But one of the props, my character was supposed to whittle a stick. And one of the props that you handed me, I found for this stick that my character was to whittle on stage, I found completely unsuitable. And
What exactly was wrong with this?
There's a diva in every show.
I'll tell you. In my mind, for this character, this piece of wood he was whittling was like a phallic piece for him. So
It wasn't big enough.
exactly. You see this little twig about 3 inches long and a ½ inch thick. I go, I can't whittle this. I can't go out on stage carrying this. But you were very nice and very accommodating, and then I want to thank you. I think, but you can be tough, by the way.
Yeah, sometimes I say, well, I learned from Michael Boland. The first thing I ever did, Michael would listen to you, and if you were not comfortable with something or didn't like a piece of the costume or something, he'd listen to you and then he'd say, "Thank you for playing. Now, moving on."
Right.
And I thought, oh, that works very well.
Yeah.
Let you say your thing and then move right on.
Well, some of these actors do get out of control.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Stick.
With their sticks.
So was that? But that show that was after Arsenic, and but you've also directed since Arsenic.
Yes, I did Daughters of the Lone Star State,
That's right.
which
Great
is a
show.
Del Shores show, which is the
Very moving.
show that precedes Daddy's Dying in the trilogy that he wrote. And I love those shows. I'm from Abilene, and the town they're set in is out near Abilene. And I wanted to make a T-shirt because at one point when there was no liquor by the drink in Abilene, everybody would go to Loakey to drink. And I wanted to make a T-shirt to wear in Daddy's Dying that said Loakey, where Abilene goes to drink. And I knew there were about 2 people in the audience, one of them I'm married to, who would know why that was funny. And so I didn't. But I have a real love for those shows and for Del Shores and his humor about the people that come from my part of Texas.
Well, I really enjoyed that show, and it's funny, it's sad, it's moving. It really was a good show, and what a cast you had for that show too.
Oh, that was just
that was
a
an
great
all-star cast.
It
around
was an
here.
all-star cast. It was.
But another show that you did, and you may not want to talk about this, or maybe you do. I don't know how you feel about it. The Christmas show, and you did the Shepherd's play.
I did a piece from the Second Shepherd's play, which is a
Yeah.
little piece of medieval drama. And this did get the governing board not to ever ask for something that was free again.
And I think
So-
that's wrong because number one, I find that a really funny piece.
It
And
is
I
a
have
funny
not
piece.
laughed so hard in a theater as when you had one of our actors, Jack Nance, and they're throwing him up, and you replace it. He gets replaced with a dummy, and oh my God, that was so funny! What a funny, clever show.
Well, some of that medieval drama is very funny
Oh, it
because
is.
it's so big. Because they didn't do it on stages, they did it on either on a scaffold, is what they call their stage, which was like a big stage but way taller, or they did it on the flat ground, and so they had all this space to work in, and they did things so big because the audience needed to be able to see, and it was all so ribald and just big. I love it. And the bad shepherd that steals the sheep and then tries to pass it off as a new baby.
Well, I had read it before I saw it. A year or two before that, my girlfriend Julie, who you know, is a theater professor, and she had me read that, and I thought it was funny when I read it. I'm like, this would really look outrageous, and you did not disappoint. It was outrageous.
Well,
I mean that. I mean, I thought it was really funny.
It's supposed to be outrageous, and of course, there's a lot of symbolism that people in the Middle Ages would see more than we see because they spent so much time in church that people don't today in that same way. But I saw a beautiful production over at the Amon Carter, I believe, in Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, when the angel came out, instead of it being a person, they had a pageant wagon in the back as if it were traveling players. And this thing rose up out of the pageant wagon. It was this huge, unworldly angel, and its eyes were rolling, and it was spouting fire. And
Wow, sounds scary.
It was really scary.
Little
It was-
Deus Ex Machina there.
exactly, and I was with them totally until that, and when that happened, I went, no.
It ruins the tone a little bit,
It does,
I think.
and I
Yeah.
loved. We had Shirley Ludlow came out in her beautiful British voice, and pronounced the angels.
Oh, that's
little-
right.
She was a wonderful angel.
Yeah.
And I
Shirley was great.
that was the serious stuff. The angel coming out had to be serious because that was God speaking. So
So, actor or director, which one do you find more creatively fulfilling. I'm not even going to put producer in there because, let's face it, nobody really loves to produce.
No,
it's something we do because we have to. But
We get to do that as
Yes.
membership on the production board.
acting
I
and
like to
direct-
direct. My children would say it's because I'm bossy,
I would never describe you that way.
but yes, you would. I think it's because then I get to be all the characters.
Sure.
And I love working with actors and trying to get the character out of the actor. I love to act, but I love working with actors and helping them find that character inside themselves. I love that, the table work and the let's talk about this character and watching them find that. And it's okay with me that on the day of the performance, the director's gone. You know, because I'm still up there. I'm all of those characters.
Sure.
Because I've worked with you and helped you be that.
Don't you find, though, as a director, that no matter how good the show is, it somehow is always going to fall a little bit short of what your vision of the show was starting out? Or no, maybe not. That's my fear, which is why I haven't got brave enough to direct yet.
Maybe I don't go about it right.
Oh, I don't know.
My idea, I don't have this final Broadway production in my head.
Okay.
What I do is try to pick good actors and good crew people and then let them bring to that what they do. I want it to be theirs. I don't really want to put a hand up in their skirts and be the puppet master. I want the costumer to have as much of a piece of it as any of the actors, as much as I have. And when we all work together, I think that what we get usually is better than I expected. Because there are those little moments of magic that just, you know, when two actors finally make it click and we've lost our producer. And But that's what I enjoy, is putting it all together and making it work.
Very nice, very nice. So, do you have any directing projects coming up? Anything?
I'm actually thinking about a show in the next season. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping possibly to try out for a show in this season.
If it's next season, you probably cannot even hint to us what it might be.
I would love to direct Horton Foote's Dividing the Estate in the 2014-15 season.
Fantastic, fantastic.
I love the Texas writers. I love doing their work. And I want to try out for a crazy old lady who's sleeping with a butler, who's in bed with the butler.
Who's in bed with the butler? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I
I
don't
may
know
be
what I'm going to
auditioning for
have
that
to
show
do
as
for
well.
Johnny Williams to get that part. But I may be willing to do it.
That's going to be a great part for somebody, by the way.
I've got a vision of her already going in my head. This crazy old lady with the hearing aid in her pocket and
And the
a
pet rat.
Yes.
Well, Betty K. Seibt, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And hopefully you will again in the future.
I would love to, and tell
I hope you
everybody
enjoy.
to come see August Osage County opening next Friday night.
No doubt. And listen to our show.
Yeah, listen to the show.
Well, thank you very much.